Food is a big thing in Dia de los Muertos. When you put an altar to honor the ones that you've lost, you put food and drinks that they love, because it's believed that they will come back at night and they will have a little bit of that food and enjoy themselves again in this world.
An inevitable, universal process that will eventually fall upon us all. Permanent, irreversible death. The way we look at death has more to do with the cultures we grow up in than the process itself. In some parts of the world, it's taboo to bring it up. But in Mexico, death is celebrated by the living. In place of anxiety, fear, or sorrow, there's music, colors, dancing, and food.
All of them have this little button on top. Does that represent anything?
The crosses represents the bone of the deceased one.
This is Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead. Today, I'm on a mission to experience the reality of this sacred holiday. The people, the culture, the altars, the food.
I think this must be one of the most unique flavor enhancers in the world. What is the connection between Day of the Dead and mole?
It all starts in the center of Mexico City.
Good morning from Mexico, more specifically Mexico City. Today is Day of the Dead. I'm here and I'm going to experience this iconic holiday myself in the flesh. At this moment, we're headed to the parade. The parade is a big deal here in the city. It's not been going on a long time, but there's a lot of people here who are excited to have it, who are excited to see it. Behind me, the holding pen for all the people in the parade. Everyone's ready to go. People are lining up. They're getting to the parade. On the way, I'm going to see if there's any food we can find. Maybe there's special Day of the Dead themed food, a skeleton cookie. I don't know. I'm going to see what I can find. Let's head out now. Cool, what do you play? What's that called, a trombone?
Trumpet.
Can I join your band? I play the recorder.
Joining me today, Herman, a content creator from Mexico focused on food and unique recipes.
Dude, this is so wild out here.
Yeah, there's a lot of attractions here for people to see and do.
There's music, everybody's happy, and you would never think the topic of this celebration was around death.
Yeah.
How do you say it in Spanish?
Dia de los Muertos.
Dia de los Muertos.
Yes, that was good.
Thank you.
Day of the Dead. It's one of Mexico's most important religious holidays.
What does Day of the Dead mean to you?
Day of the Dead represents a Mexican culture that we are so friendly and comfortable with the topic of death. For us, this day is remembering and honoring the ones that passed away and never forgetting what they left us in this world.
It's said November 1st and 2nd are the only days during the entire year when the dead can revisit their living families. As for the living, it's a time to pay respects, to remember and honor deceased loved ones by building an altar, adorned with photos and offerings, fruit, bread, beverages, and a plate of their favorite food. The intent is to encourage a spiritual visitation, welcomed by the prayers and words of the living. At least, that's what most locals believe. In the modern day, Day of the Dead is becoming more of a commoditized holiday. In Mexico City, there's a parade attracting thousands of people from all over the world to gather in the Zócalo, or the main square in the city center. But this parade doesn't go back centuries or even decades. It actually started after a James Bond movie, which featured such a parade when it was recorded here in 2015. Now, this is the parade's 4th year. Giant skeletons in colorful costumes, mariachi music, and dancers fill the street, presenting a vibrant, colorful, and somewhat commercialized slice of Mexican culture.
There's a lot of people and the parade was incredible.
The parade goes on for 4 hours. They must loop it, right?
They have a long ride around the city, so a lot of people can watch it and they don't have to be specifically here to be able to enjoy the parade.
Oh, I could have stayed at my hotel? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe.
Most countries, every holiday, every event has some kind of special food that goes along with it. Is that the same for this holiday?
Food is a big thing in Dia de los Muertos. When you put an altar to honor the ones that you've lost, you put food and drinks that they love because it's believed that they will come back at night and they will have a little bit of that food and enjoy themselves again in this world.
That's something we're actually going to be seeing later today. In the meantime, I want to see if there's any food around here.
Yes.
Let's take a look.
Let's go.
Food is an indispensable part of this holiday. This time of year, you'll find skeleton-themed candy, skull chocolates, or this, a famous sweetbread, roughly shaped like crossbones, set atop a golden yellow glazed egg bun. They call it dead bread. And if you come here, you can find a long list of varieties to choose from.
All right this way. Wow, I feel like we're going to a stadium.
This is pan de muerto, which means bread of the dead.
Are these all a little bit different?
Yes, each one is filled with different fillings.
A simple sweet bread recipe, traditionally made from a rich dough consisting of milk, eggs, and butter. Here at Pastelería Madrid Bakery, they put a twist on the traditional recipe, adding an even sweeter touch.
This one is chocolate bolita, it's hot chocolate. This is super Mexican. This flavor looks amazing. I think I'm gonna try that one. This one is filled with nata. Nata is made when you boil milk, the fatty part that comes to the top, and they spread it in the bread.
Oh, can we get that too?
Absolutely.
How do we get it? Originally, I just heard it's bread, and I was like, well, bread. Bread's not a big deal. But this is more than bread.
This bread is only baked for this time of the year. It's limited edition. After the Day of the Dead, it's gone.
Cheers. Oh yeah, it's so rich and creamy.
It's fatty, it's sweet, it's really good.
It doesn't get more fresh than that. It's very airy, it's creamy inside, and then crusty, sugary topping.
Yes, you get a crust on the top, and the sugar gives it all the sweetness that it needs.
This is awesome. If I was a kid, I would love Day of the Dead based just on this. This is very nice. All of them have this little button on top. Does that represent anything?
The round shape represents the circle of life. And in here, the crosses represents the bone of the deceased one.
I'm assuming Day of the Dead began in Mexico, but
Yes.
where in this country?
Near here with the Aztec civilization.
The ancient ritual of honoring the dead was started by the Aztecs some 3,000 years ago. Originally celebrated in the summer, it was moved to November 1st and 2nd to coincide with All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day, as the Spanish brought Christianity to central Mexico in the 16th century.
Both traditions mixed, and that's why you get a little bit of crosses and the essence of the Day of the Dead.
It's a little bit of both cultures melding together to make this holiday that you don't really see in any other Catholic nation.
The sacred holiday has evolved into what we now see today, but the way it's celebrated still depends on the region, the town, and the family celebrating. I'm heading an hour and a half outside the big city to a small town of about 9,000 people. This is San Pedro Atocpan. No parades, no costumes. Soon, I'll be meeting with a family who plans to reunite with a lost loved one tonight. But first, mole. A food often associated with Day of the Dead. I want to find out why.
Mole. It can be a sauce or it can be a powder.
Yes.
Which one do you prefer?
The sauce, obviously.
Why is that obvious? Why do they make a powder if the sauce is so good?
This isn't the final form. We have to still transform it a little bit so we can coat our protein.
Mole is an iconic Mexican flavor enhancer. Its depth of flavor usually comes from a great number of oddly paired ingredients, like dried shrimp and cacao, all ground into one fine powder.
I've not really had mole ever.
It should taste like similar to what the end form of the sauce is. That's good.
Whoa, there's so much happening in there.
You can feel the flavor of the mole. It's a little bit sweet, spicy at the same time.
This is one of the most unique flavor enhancers in the world because people aren't used to having cacao powder or chocolate mixed with spices. But this is something altogether different. It's very dynamic, it has a lot of depth, and the flavor just pulls in many different directions. That's fantastic.
This is Mole Street. All along this road, you'll find vendors selling pre-made mole as powders or pastes. This community accounts for 60% of the mole made in Mexico, around 30,000 tons each year. Right now, we stepped inside one shop to learn more from Manuel de la Cruz Espindola.
Hola.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos.
Mole. Have sales gone up a lot in the last few days? Is this a big time of year for mole?
Sí, por supuesto. Bueno, aquí son...
He was telling us that, yes, mole being so big in Mexico, so many people love it. Because of Day of the Dead, a lot of people are getting together. We put the food and the drinks that our loved ones love in the altar. A lot of people use mole for that.
Okay, so it's a great way to honor your ancestors or those who have passed. Yeah. What does it take to make a good mole?
Un buen mole.
He's saying that a good mole has around 32 to 33 amount of ingredients with spices, chilies, and everything.
Whoa.
A proper mole can easily consist of up to 30 or even 50 different ingredients. Ingredients vary according to the recipe, but you'll usually find a mixture of nuts, fruits, spices, and especially chilies.
He has other moles like this. It's green. It looks like matcha, which I hate, but maybe it tastes like mole, which I love.
This type of mole is a little bit different. It's made with green chili. They also use a lot of herbs and spices like the leaves of the avocado tree, the root of the onion.
It's like a dry chili dust, way more powdery.
Yep.
Do they all have cacao powder?
This one does not have cacao powder.
Really? I love the ones with cacao, but I'm open to new types of mole. This one is orange.
This is called PIPIÁN, and they use chile guajillo, which gives it its color, and the seeds also give it a little lightness.
Oh, this like melts on your tongue like sugar.
It's sweet at the same time. It's a little bit spicy.
Dude, I want to mix all of these with my own cooking and just see what happens. This is fantastic.
This is Sarah. She's the reason we're here. Like most families in this town, Sarah is also in the mole business. She's been at it for 30 years. This is her factory, where they kick out over 1,000 pounds of mole per month. Today, her mole will be used as an offering to a recently deceased loved one.
Hola.
Hola.
Buenos dias.
Buenos días.
I ran out of Spanish.
I'll take from here.
Okay, thanks. I noticed this region is so famous for mole. Were you born in this area?
Sí.
Oh, so you just grew up with this. How many different types do you make?
3.
She makes 3 types of moles in here. This one that we're gonna have, which is almendrado.
Mole almendrado means almond mole,
Nice.
a specialty in this town, consisting on average of 26 ingredients, all roasted or dried, so the mole will last longer.
Oh, we have these in Minnesota, but for a different reason, usually for snow. And it's never snowed ingredients like this. Oh, it smells so good, right?
Smells really good. Chocolatey.
Oh, yes. Can you tell me what these ingredients are?
Plátano, chocolate, galleta, almendras, avellanas, nuez, cacahuate, pasas, tortilla, pan, ajo, nada más.
Okay, good. The recipe you're using, is this something that was handed down to you? Something that you've developed or changed over the years?
Lo inventamos.
This is a special recipe. It's from her husband and her, and they have been modifying it through years to get to the perfect recipe that they have right now.
Wow.
First, they grind dried chilies. Then mix that with sesame seeds and grind that too. Now, all the ingredients are mixed together and ground. The one thing all moles have in common is complexity, an abundance of ingredients, and a time-consuming process. Not too long ago, all this work would have been done by hand, using stone mortars and pestles, while still achieving the same fine powdery texture. Considering the labor involved, it's easy to see how this became a treasured dish. Finally, refine the mixture with a different machine, creating an even finer powder. But this is not its final form. From here, Sarah brings the mole home along with a couple other Day of the Dead staples, candied squash and candied sweet potatoes. Late in the evening, tucked away on the hillside of this small town, you'll find a tranquil ambiance, peppered with distant barking from alarm dogs. But this night is different from other nights. Tonight, this family is expecting the brief return home of a recently lost loved one. The father-in-law of Sarah and her sister. Outside, a decorative flower wreath that reads, "Welcome, Father." As open as Sarah and her family are, I can't help but feel I'm imposing on an event I may not ever truly understand. Aside from the giant sprawling altar, things seem normal. The sounds of people making food and savory aromas slowly creeping from the kitchen. Preparing food for tonight's dinner, Sarah's sister, Lucia. Right now, she's making her father-in-law's favorite meal, a meal that'll soon be presented to him at the altar. In a pot, add olive oil, then the mole paste. Add water and stir until it becomes a thick sauce. She adds chopped cactus, shrimp, potatoes, rosemary. The aromatic mole gravy carries captivating wafts of cacao, nuts, and chilies. Finally, she adds shrimp cakes and serves the mole with rice.
First of all, I want to say thank you so much for inviting us into your home. This meal looks incredible. Was it something you would have made every year?
Sí,
And why mole?
porque se supone nuestros abuelos...
She's saying that her grandparents taught her that she should cook something that is meatless completely, so they don't feel like they're eating the flesh of the dead.
You know, in the USA, meat is like from any kind of living animal, but a lot of people around the world say meat to mean not seafood. Seafood is seafood and meat is like land animals. Yes. So we do have protein, technically. We have shrimp, and then there's also like a shrimp cake. These are the potatoes. How do you say potato?
Papa.
Oh, reminds me of my dad. I'm not sure why. How do you say dad?
Papa.
I'm gonna try the potato.
I'm going in for the shrimp cake.
Wow. It's like some kind of cheat code or some new hidden bonus level was unlocked from my palate. I didn't know that these kinds of flavors could exist. Really rich, chocolatey taste mixed with spicy, mixed with savory. Then the shrimp is blending in there too. It's so nice.
Por eso cuando lo comemos,
She was telling me that they only eat this in Day of the Dead and in Christmas.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's something that's very traditional. It's very nostalgic. I'm gonna get some of this cake.
These are made with egg and shrimp.
It's kind of spongy. It soaked up a bunch of that mole. That is so delicious. So you were cooking these at your shop. You make mole, but upstairs you were making a bunch of like kind of candied squash. You were making these. What are you making these for?
porque se acostumbra a poner en la ofrenda.
These are made so they can be put in the altar because her father-in-law really liked it. In the tradition of the Day of the Dead, they believe that at night all the spirits will come back to earth and they will go to their altar and they'll start eating off their favorite food and drinks that they left for them.
So during that time, where do you want to be when that happens?
I couldn't tell you whether Feliciano came to visit that night. Regardless, this ceremony, these rituals, exist to serve the dead and the living.
Sometimes things happen beyond your control.
Sarah and her family stare grief and loss in the eyes, helping to bring closure to a difficult fact of life that we'll all face one day.
Era una persona muy dadivosa, muy responsable de su familia, de sus hijos. Él le ofrecía siempre todo lo que él tenía. Él decía, solo hay un vaso de agua, repárteselos a mis hijos, aunque no me des.
Like a storm that's passed on.
Best Ever Food Review Show is a small team of independent creators, and everything we do here works because of you guys. Click the link in our description to join our Patreon and receive exclusive benefits. A piece.
Eso es alrededor de 1960 más o menos, cuando empieza todo esto.
Good, so that was a 5-minute explanation. Can you translate all of it?
Yes.
It's in your brain now?
Yes.
Hold on, can you help me remember my phone number really quick? Just kidding. Okay, what do you say? First, I want to say thank you so much to both of you for inviting us into your home, especially this guy. You don't even know him. They have no idea who you are.
Nope, not really.
Whose phone is that? From here, we're going to a molino. We'll just see how mole is made.
The powder?
Yeah. You ready?
Yes.
Oh, it's not loud anymore.
Garlic.
That's it. Oh. You can go back to our two-shot. Oh, okay, good. Before we started, she said the tradition is for the men to serve the ladies. Am I a lady because you served me?
Well, we can be friends.
We can be friends. Guys, that is the end of the video. I want to say a huge thank you to my man right here. Shake this hand, please. Wow, this is Herman of the channel Monks of Munch. They are on YouTube. They're covering food in Mexico and maybe soon even beyond. Guys, that is it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Peace. All right. What do we do next? Want to watch horror movies in my hotel?
Sounds great.
Great. That's a weird ending.